Finally, let's take a look at the abductive argument. Abductive reasoning is a form of logic that makes an inference to the best explanation. It's often used in the sciences when considering an event that occurred in the past that cannot be directly observed. We look at a variety of competing hypotheses and ask which can best account for the data. The four forms of reasoning, deductive, inductive, reductive, and abductive, are useful for answering different kinds of questions. And abductive reasoning can be particularly useful in a study of history. How do we apply abductive reasoning to the synoptic problem? In the second video, in the Who, When, and Why series, we looked at 10 major categories of evidence that a solid theory on the synoptic problem should be able to account for. None of the major theories on the synoptic problem today can account for each of these 10 categories of evidence. In fact, even with bells and whistles and special pleading built on top, they still can't account for all of this evidence. In the next video, in the Who, When, and Why series, I will propose a solution to the synoptic problem that is not only remarkably simple, but can account for each of these 10 categories of evidence. This, then, would be the solution favored by an abductive argument because it can explain more of the data than can competing hypotheses. There is internal and external evidence to be considered. Unfortunately, many have set aside much of the external evidence because it is difficult to pair with the internal evidence that they prefer. Some would have the unanimous testimony of the early church be solely dependent on one erroneous source. Where is this early source? Where is this ubiquitous and incredibly influential source never named in any surviving document? Where is this source? It exists in the imagination. We will find in the next video that it is possible to pair the internal and external evidence. Because this proposed solution will rely on Matthean priority, we have another case for Matthean priority, an abductive case. Matthean priority allows us to lay the foundation for the best explanation of the evidence.